I'm Cody Goggin, and this is The Saturday Show. Today, I'm going to be taking you through the making of one of my all-time favorite action films, and through the debut album by Bob Dylan. Two great trips, and I hope you enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Let's get things started with First Blood. First Blood was based on a novel written by David Morrell in 1972. It wasn't until 10 years later, though, in 1982, that the book would be adapted onto film. The film version was troubled, and at one time was intended to star Robert De Niro, or even Clint Eastwood in the role of John Rambo. When at last Sylvester Stallone was chosen, he himself would work on the screenplay, which went through 7 revisions. Richard Crenna would be chosen to play Rambo's superior and mentor, Colonel Troutman. The role had once been intended to be given to Kirk Douglas. Brian Dennehy would feature as the lawman who collides with Rambo. During shooting, the production would be halted several times due to various injuries and accidents. Stallone himself suffered multiple broken ribs and a severe back injury due to performing his own stunts. That's where we'll pause for a moment to take a look at our highlighted player of the week. Sylvester Stallone was born in Hell's Kitchen in 1946. His famous voice and slur were caused by complications during his birth that damaged a nerve. During childhood, it would be something that troubled him, and he was told acting would not be a viable career for him due to his voice. Ultimately, it became iconic to his on-screen persona. Stallone's first role in film would be made from a desperate situation. Recently evicted and without any money, Stallone appeared in the softcore pornography film Party at Kitty and Studs. He was paid just $200. Later, he would appear in The Lords of Flatbush alongside Fonzie actor Henry Winkler. Stallone developed an interest in Edgar Allan Poe and found himself writing screenplays. His breakthrough in Hollywood would be in the film Rocky, which he had written himself. Initially, the studio refused to buy the script unless Stallone agreed to allow Robert Redford or Burt Reynolds to be the lead. But Stallone refused to sell his story unless he could also play Rocky Balboa. When it was finally released, Roger Ebert said Stallone could become the next Marlon Brando. Sylvester would also begin directing many of his own films, including Rocky II and many of the other sequels in the Rocky franchise. First Blood would prove to become another sequel-spawning film for Stallone. It was followed by Rambo 2, Rambo 3, Rambo, and finally, Last Blood. Appearing in several critical failure comedy films such as Stop or My Mom Will Shoot and Rhinestone, Stallone's work in the action film genre carried him into public stardom. Movies such as Cobra, Tango and Cash, and Demolition Man were all met with success. Judge Dredd and Cliffhanger followed, and during the 90s, Stallone entered into a friendly rivalry with fellow action hero Arnold Schwarzenegger. In 1998, he would play a role that was very different for him in Copland, for which he gained weight. As the 2000s approached, Stallone appeared in several kids' movies such as Ants and Spy Kids 3D. But his career was in a lull period until 2006 with the release of Rocky Balboa, the 6th Rocky movie. Following that with the impressive 4th Rambo movie in 2008, it returned Stallone to the top of the action film world. He would then go on to develop the Expendables movies, which would feature several of the great action heroes of the past and present, including Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson, and many more. The Expendables would get several sequels as well. Stallone would appear in yet another series of films called the Escape Plan series, which ran for 3 films and found him playing a master prison escape artist. He would also appear in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Suicide Squad. He won an Academy Award for his portrayal of Rocky Balboa in the Rocky spin-off series, Creed. Sylvester's brother Frank Stallone has performed music in his films before, and his family includes several daughters and 2 sons. His oldest son, Sage, sadly passed away of heart disease at a young age. Sylvester Stallone is one of the most widely known action stars of all time and a pillar in Hollywood. His work continues to astound and entertain, and no doubt will live on forever. Back to First Blood. The music for the film was composed by Jerry Goldsmith, who also worked on several Star Trek movies. When First Blood was released, it was an enormous success, and Stallone's performance was widely praised. The film spawned one of the longest-running and most popular action movie franchises of all time. Today, for our album of the week, we are looking at the debut album from the Bard himself, Bob Dylan. This album was released in 1962 by Columbia Records and features both cover songs of classic folk tunes as well as a couple of original songs written by Dylan. House of the Rising Sun appears, as well as an homage to Dylan's hero, Woody Guthrie, who he had met and gotten to know personally. Recorded in 3 days for a sum reportedly only around $400, Dylan was a young and undisciplined artist, but his voice and personality are distinct, and the way he attacks the songs profound. Songs like Man of Constant Sorrow, In My Time of Dying, and See That My Grave Is Kept Clean. When it was released, it was not met with astounding acclaim, a modest success, but Dylan would find his fame later as his legend began to grow in folk music circles across the country. His later albums would feature more original music and garner him the reputation of being one of the best songwriters of all time. The outtakes from this album would also be released as bootleg tapes over the years, but this album stands on its own as the introduction to one of the most legendary artists of all time. Give it a listen and let me know what you think in the comments below. Up next is a live musical performance, so don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching. Serenity, how are you? It's been so long. I knew it was you by your eyes. If time is just memories lost in transit to a dream, imagine my surprise. Well, I've waited a long time to stay here, right where you are. Yes, I've waited a long time to stay here, right where you are. When you are. Searching, wondering all of my life. Where did you go? You're hiding, flying so high up above. You're just enjoying the show. Well, I've waited a long time to stay here, right where you are. Yes, I've waited a long time
long time to stay here, right where you are.